only person who has the power to crash this company is you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The only person who has the power to crash this company is me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I can't be like, people are going to leave. Like you
Yeah.
gotta like respect people's seasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whether Reese has to quit and go do something else, or he gets sick or has a family member that lives in Mexico and he has to like leave and go be with the family member. I don't like the
People
reason
part
in
ways.
which where this season is ending
Mm-hmm.
can't affect me.
Sure.
Make sense?
And I love this conversation because I think it's a part of being a boss, right? And when I say a boss, I mean having employees that work for your company, because you can be a CEO and not necessarily be a boss, right? Meaning you don't have a team just yet. So I think this is part of the conversation that we don't have. Therefore, we're unprepared. And while I don't take it personally, I've had team members come and go, right? And luckily I've not had any team members come and go on bad note. Like they still come to me, they still have questions, we still have a relationship. Like it's always a split that makes sense or was necessary or it was seasonal. But I think that these are the things that we don't think about. And you hire people and you're expecting them to be in this for the long haul because it's you. Mm-hmm. And so then when they're ready to go or you start seeing things, we become emotional, right? That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I understand that people, even your best team member, will go and move on to a different opportunity. And I hope that for you, if you find a better opportunity that can provide for you and your purpose and is more in alignment with what you want to do, absolutely. I am more so speaking on investing time, resources, and energy in the wrong people.
Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast. I'm here. Donnie's here.
We are we're in a new set.
Yes. You're about to say what episode we're on? And you don't know. I don't know either. There's so many. It's all good. We're on episode 200 something.
200 something. You just make sure you're caught up.
Absolutely, man.
We're here for all of the episodes.
Absolutely.
We've seen them all. You guys, we've got some exciting news.
Yes, we're going on OnlyFans. We'll be on. I wanted to reveal it. We're going on OnlyFans. We probably have an OnlyFans right now. I'm excited about it. We had a call.
We
yesterday
did have
with
a call.
OnlyFans.
We had a call. So we got to talk about how this happened. I think, did we talk about it a little bit? First of all,
last week.
Can I just highlight the fact before we get there? You guys, these chairs have some curvature going on. So neither David or I have like a humpback issue. I promise I'm sitting up straight.
It does look crazy, right?
But I look like I'm scrunched, like I look humpback.
Yeah, these joints look crazy. Yeah, you're right.
I think we need a lumbar pillow that forces our backs.
Let me have a pillow.
Here.
Can you hand me a pillow real quick? Let me see. Appreciate it. Oh, I can catch normally.
But you got to change it the other way so the tag.
And I look fat. These chairs make me look fat.
That's not a look. That's not the chair.
The chairs make me look fat. Too? How does it look? It looks crazy. Let's podcast, okay? Because there's some audio listeners just like, what the heck is going on over there?
You guys were fixing the set real quick.
So anyway. We're going on OnlyFans.
I don't look fat. I don't know what's happening with your chair, but
we're going on OnlyFans. But last week we had a conflict, right? Because it was something in my spirit that said...
In your spirit?
In my spirit. that said, I don't know. It's a savage website. And I looked at it as a soft porn hub.
Yeah. So it's important that you guys know, especially if you watched last week's episode. Last week, David was saying, hey, this is a great opportunity, but I'm not 100% positive that from a moral compass standpoint, I feel good about being on the platform.
That we were leading people into the devil's den.
Right? And his perspective on that was, what if there are people who struggle with a pornography addiction and we take them to OnlyFans and now they're getting lost and kind of going down the rabbit hole of this platform. But it's a misconception that OnlyFans was created for that purpose. You guys, OnlyFans was created for content creators to have the ability to separate their fans from their followers. Mm-hmm. So they noticed a void. For example, creators are getting paid right now to create content, say on like Instagram, for our Instagram reels and things like that. But the numbers, when you break them down mathematically, boil down to 0.01% of each play. So if you're getting 100,000 plays, the creator typically, I don't know if there's a scale depending on what type of creator you are, but I've run these numbers with, my account. We looked at your account, I think, and we looked at some of my other clients who have really large followings. And it's like 100,000 views will get you $100, right? So it's the monetization options on the platform trash. So on Instagram, we're building a huge following, right? The people over at OnlyFans, the developer, the creators of OnlyFans said, hey, let's create a platform that allows people to monetize this following in a real significant way. And then therefore we take the people who are following us, we're still able to create great content, but we're literally building a business as content creators, and we deserve to get compensated for that. And so the people who really, really rock with our content and you want to see a little bit more, you want to see some behind the scenes, you want to see some of our private lives, things that we would never share on Instagram.
For sure.
We consider you guys family. OnlyFans calls you fans. And you're going to be able to come over to OnlyFans.
So here's what they've done, which I thought was amazing. You're able to separate your fans from your followers. You're able to separate your fans from your followers. Because on Instagram, you have all these followers, but there are true fans that really, really want to rock with you. So OnlyFans allows us to cater to our true fans.
Yeah. Well, and it's so cool. So we actually were able to trace back. You guys know that I'm super big on manifestation. And we were able to trace back. Our conversations started about OnlyFans in September.
It was like episode 50.
I said 2020. September 2020 is when we had our first conversation about like, yo, it's going up. We're going to get on OnlyFans. And then maybe 6 weeks ago, we released an episode when Bad Baby bought her $6 million mansion in Miami.
52 million.
And everybody was saying, oh, she's going to go broke. She spent all of her money on this mansion. And then she uploaded her tax returns showing that
it's real.
She made like $52 or $54 million from OnlyFans.
And they said it was cap.
And then they said it was cap, but it was not.
She had to show the video of, listen,
she had to show the video. And not only that, you guys, we had a conversation with OnlyFans, actually the team at OnlyFans, and she did do what she said she did. So we joked about how can we show up on OnlyFans? And it was that conversation where we realized that there are non-provocative creators creating on OnlyFans. And so, we kind of put that out there. Dave and I went live a couple of weeks ago on Instagram, and OnlyFans pops up on our live.
They pulled up on us.
They pulled up and they dropped the hands, these hands.
And I was impressed too, because I asked the young lady, like, yo, how did they find us?
Yeah.
And she was like, yo, we keep our ear to the streets.
We keep our ear to the streets.
We know what's happening in the streets.
Social Proof Podcast in these streets.
In these streets.
In these streets. Yeah. Absolutely.
I should have negotiated the deal that they got to follow us.
We'll add that because we still have we have to give them our plan.
And we get verified on OnlyFans.
We get verified on OnlyFans. That's really, I don't really know how important that is, but
I don't know. But I'm not verified anywhere else.
I'm not verified anywhere else.
Maybe if you're verified on one platform, yeah, you're right.
Maybe we can leverage that. But so now we want to kind of walk through. We have no idea. So yesterday we had the conversation. Last week we weren't even sure if we were going to accept the opportunity. So we gave no thought to how we would show up on the platform. We really wanted to hear from them how they suggest we show up on the platform. So now, you guys, we have to map out.
We got to map this thing out, man.
But before we do that, we got to highlight this new set. Yes. We can't act like the set's not here.
Yeah, we have a new set.
You guys loving it?
With the greatness.
Loving it. You saw last week's episode. We're actually in the same studio. We were on this wall that's over here. You can't see it, but we're set up on this wall now with like greatness looking over our shoulders and greatness having our backs. Like, greatness has our backs.
It's cool. There's a lesson in it too that when you are all in on something, you should be continuing to evolve, right? And like really going to another level, right? So you've been coaching for a while, and obviously you'll have like these meetups and masterminds, but then you're taking people out of the country. I think that's evolution.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you should be going to the next level. If this is truly what, like, you need to be more vested in the thing that you're doing. And I see all the greats, all successful people. They're either like you talked about a couple weeks ago, like, yo, I am investing in my infrastructure. Mm-hmm. I'm not just trying to do what I'm doing just so I can make some money. I am invested here, meaning I'm going to be here for a while in this space. So I also wanted to share this. I was actually just talking to Drew. I believe that over the next year or so, year or two, however long this like recession thing lasts,
this recession thing,
I believe people who lean into podcasting and creating content will be the next superstars.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because there's going to be a separation. People that are good at what they do, right now they might be okay because they're making some money doing other things. But in the event that the economy turns, there's going to be a lot of people who can't withstand doing something over and over again and not getting paid for it. So in terms of the podcast space, there's some people that have a lit show, but they're not making a whole lot of money. And if the recession hits, they have to go get the money, meaning they're going to stop doing this thing, meaning there's going to be a great separation between the people who can keep moving in this space and people who can't.
Yeah.
So not outside of what if this podcast stops getting monetized or whatever. Well, we're still here. Yeah. Right? And if you can weather the storm when everybody's falling away, right? There's some people in real estate, they're in the real estate space, but if something happens to the economy, it's going to be some people that get out the game because they're going to do something else because they're afraid. But the people who stay in the game win.
Absolutely.
Period. So we're going to be here, y'all.
We're going to be
here.
And that brings me to, I actually took a note on it. I was talking to Sierra Esquire. You know Sierra? She's an attorney, content creator as well.
I want to say yes, because if I do, somebody, you don't know me?
She like rolls with Trishana.
Yes, I know Sierra. Okay. S-I-E, right?
C-I-E.
C-I-E.
So we were on the phone this morning.
That ain't the one.
We were FaceTiming this morning and we were talking
about... I follow her. Sierra_Esquire.
Yeah. So we were talking this
morning. Hold on, because she don't follow nobody.
She went through, look at her last post. She unfollowed everybody, but don't worry, she's coming back. So don't unfollow her.
I don't know how Sierra, I feel about it.
You better follow us back.
Hold on. There's no post about...
Yeah, look. Did she erase it?
She's not following me.
No, look.
We can't.
Okay. Well, she must have deleted the post because she was getting a lot of calls. Don't unfollow
about
her.
What?
So she created a post that... So, people right now are just going through things and they're having revelations and experiences, and people are feeling anxious and overwhelmed and things like that. And so I think she was just going through a moment where she was expressing her feelings about not feeling supported in certain spaces. And she's like, I unfollowed everybody because I'm over here going through my own hard times and like literally nobody checks on me.
Dang.
So I called her and we actually FaceTimed for about a half hour this morning. And gosh, I forgot the statement, but I was like, I'm writing it down and I'm saying it. And we were just talking. I wanted to actually put my eyes on her and make sure she looked good and she was doing okay. And she is. So we were talking about this upcoming recession and just changes.
She didn't follow you either.
She unfollowed everybody.
I was say you checked on her.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
All right, cool.
So we were having a conversation about transitions that she's going through in business. And I shared some information and gave her a couple of strategies to leverage. And there's some, she's experienced people like going through her course and completely ripping her program off. And now and we've experienced the same thing. And now you have people who took a course and they're acting as experts and they're just duplicating your program. And we said this morning, there's a lot of people out here who are literally just making money producing content. And when I say just making money producing content, I mean people who are a little more than inspired by other people's information and using that to create content, copying people and creating content. And you may be having some wins, but this season that we're about to go into is about to separate the people who are a little more inspired from the people who are actually authorities and experts in their space. because it's about to come a time where we're no longer just talking about content. We're talking about business.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Content development, content creation is an actual business model. And you need to look at your own model right now and say, hey, am I just capable of talking content or am I capable of talking business? And that's a real conversation. So many people don't respect content creators as legitimate business owners or as a business industry. I believe it needs when you're applying for loans or your bank and it says what industry you're in, I believe content creation needs its own category at this point.
That's real.
And I agree with you where we're going in the recession and even beyond, just where we're going in the world and the direction of how business is happening. Content creators are winning, whether it's podcasting, whether you're creating, content as a result of your business that you're really good in. So you've done something great. And now you're creating content to teach other people more information or to teach people how to do what it is that you're doing. Creators are cash flowing heavily right now.
Yep. Dang, I can't stop thinking about, I wonder who's not following me.
There should be like an app or a plugin for that. Did you unfollow her?
No, I didn't. Okay. Is she okay though?
Yeah, she's good. She's good.
Yo, I don't care what you're going through. If you ever.
Me?
Yeah. There better be one person you're following. Okay, anyway. Yeah, I'm glad she's doing well.
Yeah, she's doing amazing.
Who are you calling? You're calling? Oh my gosh.
Answer your phone, girl.
The petty of it all. Yo, anyway.
Oh.
And didn't pick up.
Did she? Sierra? Now, did you just not answer my call and you're not following me?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. We need to figure out how we're going to approach this OnlyFans thing. Oh, and let me tell you what's dope too. So what they said was we're going to go on their OnlyFans TV. And their OnlyFans TV is very restrictive of nudity and, drugs and stuff like that. Yeah. You can't put everything on there. Yeah. So they're very, very, very protective of that. And because they have such a big following in OnlyFans TV, I forgot, it was something, an insane amount of users they got. Like 100 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Say it again. Like 200 million users.
Yeah.
So you got OnlyFans TV. That content is free, and we have to create. Remember, we thought they were going to give us like a $10 million deal.
Yeah, we didn't get a signing bonus, you guys.
Yeah, Donni even tried to get flued out. And
I was like, look, can we get flued out? Can we do something? The benefit to what we're getting, number one, they reached out to us.
Yeah.
So that was totally cool. We are super excited that a platform, now especially knowing what the platform is intended for, we're super excited that a platform that large saw us.
For sure.
Saw us in our natural element doing what we're naturally gifted at, 100%. Right? With honor and integrity. But secondly, we get to work with their creative development team. So typically someone would create their own OnlyFans account. You kind of get it how you live, you figure it out. We actually now have a relationship established with their creative directors that's going to help kind of navigate our success on the platform.
100%.
Yeah, they're going to be marketing us on their platform. Yeah. So I guess that's cool.
Yep. So we'll go on OnlyFans TV, which is, I guess, like a television station type thing. Mm-hmm. And we don't get any compensation for that. However, they said some good percentage of people who actually watch it on OnlyFans TV come over and support the page of the OnlyFans creator.
Yeah.
Right. So if we have some really good content and people are starting to love it, they'll come over to our page and they can subscribe to our channel and show some love. Right. Mm-hmm. So the thing we have to consider is what is the information what is the content we're gonna put on OnlyFans TV that's gonna be engaging and good enough to drive people over to our OnlyFans page, and what are we offering on our OnlyFans page that we're driving traffic to?
So my question, so just for clarity, we have to create the Social Proof podcast is not going on OnlyFans
Correct.
TV. Okay. Social Proof podcast, you'll continue to consume that the way that you do. We're creating something totally new for you guys for OnlyFans TV. But here's my question. We literally both went through this transition where we cut out a lot of offers last year because we had some pretty
Sure.
aggressive income goals. We also literally just had a meeting a couple of weeks ago where we said that we're not doing anything else that requires any more of our time. So this is a really big commitment. Are we sure? Because we literally are essentially executing another business model.
Well, what makes it comfortable is like I've been doing a lot of YouTube training. Like a lot, I've been paying for a lot of YouTube stuff, YouTube masterminds. Just I I I see the importance of leaning into content creation. This is what we talked about, right? You're like, yo, I want to go more into like creating the content. So I believe now it's not a question of are we going to create more content? Because the answer is yes. The question is, where's it going and what's the best place to put it to be able to make it make sense?
I understand.
Listen, if I was going to teach you how to make $1 million, would you give me 10,000? Like if I had a course teach you how to make $1 million a year positive, you're going to make $1 million, would you give me 10,000? Of course you would. It's no brainer, right? So in a calendar year, we make 7 figures with the podcast. But there's 21 things that I extracted from that you're going to need to launch a podcast. But I only got time to give you 3 right now. One is you need a distribution platform. The distribution platform is what you upload your podcast to. That platform sends it to Spotify, Apple, Google Play, so that your supporters can actually listen to your podcast. You're also going to need a microphone. You need a really good microphone so it's crispy audio. And 3, you need an income strategy. This is not necessarily a hobby, unless you're going to make it a hobby. But I can teach you how I made the 7 figures with these 21 things. Now, the good news is you don't have to give me 10,000. My ebook is only $37. Okay? So listen, go to podcastebook.com and get the 21 things that you need. And I can explain it in detail, all the things that you need. Okay? Podcastebook.com. Let's get to the episode.
For me, something that's new. So typically when I create content, typically it's a planned day. I have a list of shots maybe that I want to get, or I have topics that I want to discuss. But because we're creating now this exclusive content for this platform and we're going to be doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff, it's like, am I committing to waking up with cameras in my face?
I mean, well, here's the thing. This is what I would suggest. If you're going to be a content creator, then yes, you have to commit to being able to deliver everything that you want your audience to experience. So I brought Reese on a few months ago so that whenever I go anywhere or I'm doing something, he records it.
Yeah.
So now there's more of a purpose for it because now we can say intentionally, okay, if we're going to go eat, right? Me and Donni, we're going to have a meeting. Well, just come to the meeting, we record it. And that's the kind of stuff that typically we use it as B-roll for something or a clip for Instagram, but we'll be able to give the behind the scenes of all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah. So right now, like as a content creator, I am always filming, always recording. So, I have Ryan. I think I'm about to start working with Dalton as well.
Oh, word?
And that's only because Ryan lives out of town.
Yeah,
so sometimes I have these ideas and I need somebody who's here. And I understand that Reese is exclusive to you.
I thought Chaos was there.
Reese? Reese? Oh, are you his management team? Okay, so maybe. Yeah, Chaos too.
You gotta think, what's my man name? Cootie? Ain't that my man name? Cootie? Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Chaos is another videographer that I use. Chaos though is getting really, really busy. So anyway, the whole point
Alexander's dope, so I rock with Alexander.
Alexander did some content with me recently. I like Alexander as well. Alexander is really expensive.
Is he?
Yeah. He's really, well, at least when he quoted me, was really expensive. So we'll see.
Fine, expensive. He's good though.
He's super good.
Well, you don't have to get into.
I was gonna pull it up, but anyway, he was about 4 times more expensive than any other quote that I received.
Hey.
But he is good. He's really, really good. He's produced some content for me. And let me just be clear. I love working with creators whose energy I feel, and I feel all of you guys' energy. So I will use all of you at some
I
point.
rock with my guy Alex, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll use all of you guys at some point. And I told Alexander that as well. Ryan is my actual videographer who I go to for like my consistent content. But I believe in giving everybody an opportunity. I am going to go back to Alexander and we're going to have a different discussion.
He might watch this like, what?
Yeah. We're gonna have a different discussion, and Alexander, quit playing with me, okay? I think you think I got more than I really have, right? We got to stay within the marketing budget.
Do you be getting charged based on what people think you got?
I don't think Alexander did that, but I do.
It's my period.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe that people charge me like
stop charging people off their gross. It's different than that.
Yeah. Yeah. The
got
gross
a big
is
payroll,
different.
man. I was going through it with I was going through it with Deanna. I was like, we got a lot of expenses. A lot of humans.
A lot of humans. A lot of people. I know we had a meeting yesterday, and I won't call out the name because, you know, their team may watch the podcast. But what do you do? So the conversation yesterday with some of our peers, we had a meeting, you guys, to discuss, and this will be good stuff for us to share on the OnlyFans. We had a meeting really just kind of discussing, one, how do we prepare for the recession? How do we prepare our communities for the recession? Two, we were talking about retention strategies to keep the customers that you have, because that's going to be super important in this period and beyond. But we also talked about building our team and how we deal with your team being really close and having a lot of information about your revenue. They understand how much money you make, and they start to feel cheated. They start to feel like they deserve more money because they see how much money you're making. So as an employee, you typically don't know how much money your CEO brings in, right? You just don't. So you figure we base our salary off of, as an employee, you base your salary off of what the industry standards are. What do you Google? What do you go to Career Builder for? And you see that the industry standard says for this role, you earn this much. And when I hire, I also go like to Career Builder and different job sites to see, well, what is the average salary for an operations assistant or an executive assistant or an operations manager? And you'll find that when you offer that, people who are coming to work for an entrepreneur, right, or small business owner versus a Fortune 5, they want more money. Like, no, I don't want your $60,000. I should be getting paid $115,000. Well, what are you basing that off of? What are you basing that? Are you basing that off of the fact that I'm a 7-figure entrepreneur, or you're a 7-figure? Are you basing it off the fact that the employer is a 7-figure business? And would you walk into corporate America with that same energy when they're hundreds of millions in? They're 9-figure businesses, right? Do you walk into corporate America with that same energy, or do you sit in that interview like, yep, that $20 an hour is great until it's time for a raise?
Yeah, my boy yesterday was saying, he said there was somebody on his team said, yo, I need some more money. But he was explaining that this person's skill set is so valuable to the team. He's like, yo, that's someone I would have to negotiate with. Like, because I don't want her to go.
Yeah.
She would be hard to replace. The thing that she does, it's really, really hard to replace.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, I'm like, yo, you're in that scenario, but you really have to, I talk about this with my squad all the time, like adding value. And I think there's literally nobody that's worked for me for an extended period of time. I don't know if I got, well, yeah. So I was talking about it with the course with Reese. He's the newest pretty much. But there's nobody on my team that has worked with me for a while that I haven't given an opportunity to make money with me.
Yeah.
And that's how we operate. Like, it's not just, I don't just want to pay you for something. You know what I mean? Like, you do a service, I'm always going to offer some sort of, because I'm an entrepreneur, my mind always is looking to build something. If you help me build this, let's build it together. And it's not based on me just paying you.
Yeah.
So I think that's important, because if not the case, of course, if there's no way to elevate, then of course somebody be like, yo. They at least give me 4% a year in corporate, or 3%, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Not all the
Don't
time.
corporate do that? They give like a 2% or a 3%
raise, like 1 to 2
on the evaluation.
Yeah.
Oh,
hmm
yeah.
I believe in incentive-based pricing for your team members, or payroll, salary, incentive-based bonuses and salaries. Uh, so most of my team members are commission based just because of how my company functions. We have a sales team, but I do have some salary based employees, and I give them the opportunity to earn commission too. So it's almost kind of like the same thing. You have to help me build this. So by helping me build this, it's coming in a role of sales, and you get commission on top of your salary for doing so. Um, but we're not necessarily talking about that. We're talking about people who say, man, Dave is over there killing it, and he's only paying me $50,000 for a year. Like, they think that based on how much you make, they should make more.
I mean,
that's what the conversation was yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. That's it. But that's a decision, because the other person we were sat with, he said, y'all let everybody go.
The other person who was there,
it's like, all right,
his team kind of came at him and was like, yo, I'm not doing it anymore. I want more money. And he's like, I looked at what the role, well, and for him, just, we've had conversations at length about this. It wasn't even the idea that they needed more money. It was the approach. It was the approach of entitlement. Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm not doing this job for you unless I get more money. Like, where's the respect for your boss? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, that's the danger of building a team, a culture on your team that makes people feel like family. We talked about this too. I definitely believe that there needs to be a very cohesive team that feels comfortable enough to come to you, that you can laugh with and have fun with. But we have to draw a line. That family feel sounds good, but in actual execution of being a boss and running a business, it becomes dangerous, because then you have the other person's situation where he says his team came to him like they rallied up because they're like family. So they're having these sidebar conversations. It's like, yo, we see how much money he's making. We want more money. And so then the approach to him is, I'm not doing any more work, fam, unless you pay me. Fam. Like, you understand fully that I'm your boss, right?
Yeah,
you would never go.
I didn't hear that part.
Well, that's what happened. Like, suddenly the job just stopped being done cold turkey, and he's reaching out like, hey, what's going on? Well, at this point, I just feel like I deserve more money, and I'm not going to do any more work until we discuss this. And you have to look at what you're being paid based on the actual role that you're providing. And sometimes you can max yourself out, which is why as a CEO, you also don't start people at the top of the pay scale, because you don't have any room to accelerate their pay when it starts to feel stale, when it starts to feel like the same thing over and over again. You kind of want to leave yourself some room to negotiate, but you got to get really, really clear on the type. Do you want people coming to you as your boss saying, yo, fam, what's up? Or feeling comfortable enough to tell you what they're not going to do until you do X, Y, and Z. I don't want that kind of culture in my company. I want people to know that I love them and respect them and care about them. And if they're struggling through a hard time, they can communicate with me, and I can offer some support. But I also want a team that respects me and says, hey, Donni is just as important of a CEO is as my last job CEO was. And I have the same level of respect for her that I had for my last supervisor. What I don't want them to have for me is fear. I don't necessarily need my team to fear me. So you walk into corporate America and you fear, so I would rather my team having a desire to not disappoint me by dropping the ball, right? I don't want them to be afraid necessarily of losing their job. I want to create a culture where it's like, I respect what she's doing so much that I really just don't want to disappoint her. So I'm going to do what I have to do. Yeah. And I think we all work well that way. But, and so in that same conversation, our other friend said, well, do we invite team over to our house? How close can we be? And it's one of those situations, like, I never want working for me to feel like the bad side of corporate America. Every corporate job doesn't feel terrible to work. People love their jobs. My experiences, though, in maybe 80% of the companies that I've worked for, I was never excited to walk in. It was always I go to work, I do a job, and I can't wait to go. 5:00, no matter what's going on, I'm out unless I get paid overtime, right? I never wanted to feel like that for me. I wanted to feel good and relaxed and comfortable, but I also don't want to be taken advantage of because you have this insight as to what we're doing, and you feel so comfortable that you attempt to handle me in a way that you would have never handled them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't go for it.
Turn on your mic.
I think it's the same thing in corporate. I just think that you're experiencing it at a closer level because we have people that be in management and take their job to the extreme and will just go off on people and it doesn't matter. And then you have the people that are under them, like, I don't care about this job. So I think corporate does experience it, but because most corporate companies are so big, we don't compare it to an entrepreneur that is at a lower level. So you're experiencing building a company and dealing with the things that come with building a company.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a closer reach. You can actually talk to the person, and I talk to these guys every day. You know what I mean? So of course it would be. You don't have a corporate job where you talk to the manager every day.
Let me ask you guys this, Joe, especially for you, because you've been working directly on Dave's team longer. Have you ever felt like, wow, Dave makes X amount of dollars, but he only pays me these amount of dollars?
No.
Why not?
Because you provided other opportunities outside of it. So we have our partnership that we have outside of what you pay me, which as of recent has been slowly increasing. We had the Patreon once upon a time. That was so it's like it's not like you just pay me, but what I like about this is that it grows me as an entrepreneur because if you pay me a hefty salary, I would get tremendously comfortable in that salary versus you teaching me, okay, this is how you go out and get money as an entrepreneur. So this has been my biggest lesson in my whole year of entrepreneurship is this is how you go out and get it. You provide excellent customer service. If you mess up, you man up about it, speak about it, you go on about it. So I've been learning so much about how to go and get it versus it just coming to me.
Okay, I have another question.
Got another answer.
So essentially, Joe is your right hand, right? You have Jen, but on a day-to-day, in-person road dog, Joe is like your right hand. But Joe keeps using this word entrepreneur. What you're teaching me as an entrepreneur. What you're teaching me as an entrepreneur. That's also another slippery slope. Small business owners and CEOs who are hiring other entrepreneurs, are you training him to one day soon leave and go build his business? And if so, how does that impact you? Or are you looking forward to him being a long-term team member? And I'd love to hear the response from both of you. As an employer, Joe is an entrepreneur. His goal, I'm sure, is to build a giant level business like yours. What happens if that happens in 6 months, 12 months, and he's like, hey, Dave, my business blew up, I'm out?
Well, I don't think that type of thing happens in 6 months or so. And we've been together for an extended period of time now. My objective is to grow the people that I work with. So here's the trade-off, right? I can pour in and mentor Joe, right? And I feel like my objective is mentoring Joe to be the best version of him.
Yes.
It greatly benefits me for Joe to be the best version of himself, right? Now, if he's becoming the best version of himself and he's building a business using this best version of himself in my mentoring and coaching, by the time he builds a big business, he'll have added so much value. And I believe if he does, as he builds a big business, he'll probably look and say, yo, this person mentored me and coached me to this. So he's not going to leave one day, say, yo, I'm out. At least he'll train somebody in this space to say, yo, there's no way I can be becoming so successful. And the person that helped me just I just leave them out to dry.
Sure.
This is my bank. This is my bet. The other side is, as he's growing and developing, he might just become more of an entrepreneurial thinker and say, yo, Dave, you got this platform. This is the value that I can add. We can make some money together.
Mm-hmm.
Let me add this type of value
Mm-hmm.
to the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And it grows. And then all the mentoring and coaching and the working together, it was all beneficial. So either way, I want people to win. And especially if Joe goes out and builds a 7-figure company,
Mm-hmm.
that means we're doing something right here.
Okay.
One, but two, I would never have any problem finding somebody to work.
I want to invite you to pick my brain.
Mine too. Mine too.
Yours too?
Mine too.
Yours too.
They can
Okay,
pick
you
my brain.
guys, we are so excited because we just dropped our newest podcast series called the Brain Picker Podcast. David.
Oh, it's going down. You get to pick our brain. You have a business idea, a concept, you're stuck, you can't get off the ground. You need the advice of seasoned, experienced entrepreneurs. Not only entrepreneurs that are practitioners, but we got a lot of people that we've been coaching all over the last decade.
All over the globe.
They got receipts.
Not just that, you never know where your next investor might be hanging out. And the word on the street is we got all the connections.
That's a big fact.
We got all the connections. So if you want to sit down with us and pick our brains
in front of our audience,
and we're letting you pick our brains, we won't even talk bad about you for doing it in front of our audience, bringing your business maximum exposure. Find the link somewhere around here, wherever you see it.
It's there.
And apply
right now
to pick our brain.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
In his space. Because look what happened by him working.
Joe. Okay, so Joe, your position on that. Your position on that. Are you in a space where it's like, hey, I'm taking this opportunity and I'm leveraging it so that I can get this mentorship and become my best entrepreneur self? Like, really, you're not going anywhere. Dave needs you, so don't worry about it. Okay. Or do you see yourself learning in this space? You're just enjoying applying some of the principles, but ultimately you see yourself being on this team and growing within the organization for the next 20 years.
That's crazy you asked that because that's where my mind has been lately on where do I see myself? Mm-hmm. Because I've been slowly growing my own personal business, of course, but also I enjoy working with Dave. You know, I really enjoy the opportunities I get, the people I get to meet, you know, just the growth, because every week our calls don't mean to turn into a lecture, but they do.
Right, yeah, for sure.
It's just somehow it happens, but it's just he says something, and he said something like 2-3 weeks ago. It's like you said it to Donald. It was we do not work, something like that. He said, I tweeted it. It was dope. It says like we do not.
You ain't tagged me about that?
I did. I actually tagged you. Probably gonna check the tweets.
So you forgot?
No, it's tagged on Twitter. Let me find my phone. There was a really good quote, and I was like, "Yo, that's real." It's like it's hard to leave something like that where every week you get poured into unintentionally.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's intentional where he wants to see us grow as individuals. And I've been asking myself and questioning myself, like, yo, what do you do next? Because you're growing as an individual. Dave's business is growing exponentially. So like, where do you see yourself? And I can't answer that question right now. I would love to like try to figure out how do you do both? Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at now is how do you do both and do them both well, where the service I provide to Dave, it doesn't lack. And the service I provide to my potential clients, it doesn't lack as well. So I'm in this space of how do you do both well? And I've been asking other people who I see operate in that space well, like, so I always ask you, Donni, how do you do it? Like, how do you operate in that space well? And that's what I'm trying to figure out now.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. I don't operate in that space. I'm not employed by anybody.
Well, outside of being employed, I'm talking about how do you like, I'm talking about the juggling of like, yeah, like the serving of like, you know, working with Dave and working.
I will tell you that it's not easy, right? I had to cut off 6-figure clients that were paying me 6 figures a year. I had to cut that off to foster this partnership. Like I chose not to try to juggle all of that. What do I have the most enjoyment in? And at the time that I did that, there was no revenue being collected from this partnership, right? That's something that grew over time. So it was a huge risk. I love the way that you answered that transparently though, because originally, like even when I owned a clothing store, I only hired people that had a desire to be an entrepreneur, people who I could basically mentor. You come in, you work with me, I pay you fairly, I pay you wonderfully, actually, and I mentor you, and you're going to be able to be in position to like launch your own company. And the leader in me, the person who cares about people in me, really wanted that and really wanted that idea to work out. Today, the CEO in me is not so sure that it works. Now I have people who are super successful entrepreneurs who chose to work with me and my platform because of something that they saw they wanted to be connected to for whatever reason. But I cannot act like, if I see you kind of heavily vested in your thing, I'm wondering now how vested you are in mine. I also can't deny that sometimes it shows in the results, right?
Mhm.
And I also can't deny that sometimes there's been a conflict. With that being said, so now I am in a space of, I want people who think like entrepreneurs, but are not entrepreneurs. I still want to mentor people. I still want to help people become their best selves. But based on where the company is going, I don't want a constant cycle, a revolving door of employees coming in and out for 1 year, 2 years. It really takes a lot with what I do to train someone. This is not Chick-fil-A or McDonald's fast food where it's like you take the burger, you put the chicken, you put on the mayonnaise, you do this. It's not that. Like, people who work with me have to learn how to think like me. That requires training and repetition over time, like a long time. So that's just kind of one of those
Here's the
places that
thing
I'm in.
though. It's not, I don't know if that's necessarily fair
Okay.
because we both work jobs and we learned a lot
Mm-hmm.
in those jobs
Mm-hmm.
that helped us become who we are today.
And we moved on from those jobs.
And we moved on
Yeah.
for sure. So in the event that, let's say, Joe or Jen or anybody, they need to move on.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be mad at it, right? But
Sure.
I think what we have to do in our businesses is to be able to set our businesses up in a way where the only person who has the power to crash this company is you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The only person who has the power to crash this company is me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I can't be like, people are going to leave. Like you
Yeah.
gotta like respect people's seasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whether Reese has to quit and go do something else, or he gets sick or has a family member that lives in Mexico and he has to like leave and go be with the family member. I don't like the
People part
reason in
ways.
which where this season is ending
Mm-hmm.
can't affect me.
Sure.
Make sense?
And I love this conversation because I think it's a part of being a boss, right? And when I say a boss, I mean having employees that work for your company, because you can be a CEO and not necessarily be a boss, right? Meaning you don't have a team just yet. So I think this is part of the conversation that we don't have. Therefore, we're unprepared. And while I don't take it personally, I've had team members come and go, right? And we're luckily I've not had any team members come and go on bad note. Like, they still come to me, they still have questions, we still have a relationship. Like, it's always a split that makes sense or was necessary or it was seasonal. But I think that these are the things that we don't think about. And you hire people and you're expecting them to be in this for the long haul because it's you.
Mhm.
And so then when they're ready to go or you start seeing things, we become emotional, right? That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I understand that people, even your best team member, will go and move on to a different opportunity. And I hope that for you, if you find a better opportunity that can provide for you and your purpose and is more in alignment with what you want to do, absolutely. I am more so speaking on investing time, resources, and energy in the wrong people.
But here's the thing, you can't control that.
Yeah, I know you can't.
Right. And
I know you can't.
here's how I look at it. When we invest time, resources, and energy for somebody that's on the team
Mm-hmm.
to help them grow as a person,
Mm-hmm.
that process isn't for them. It's for you.
Tell me more.
So being able to like learn the language of everybody. And I haven't learned the language, but I'm in the process of trying to understand how to talk to Reese or talk to Donald, or like I'm in a season where I'm learning to manage the people and the product, like the end result.
Mm-hmm.
And how do my interactions with the people on the team affect the outcome? This is me balancing and learning entrepreneurship and leadership and being a CEO and being all the things that encompass being a CEO of a small company.
You know what's crazy is one of our friends that were at dinner last night said, "Yo, I'm a terrible leader."
Yo, for sure.
And these are the conversations that we have to have. This is so important. Like, if you're taking anything away from today's episode, get you a circle of friends that are operating at a level similar to you or higher, where you can have these conversations, because it was so real when he said, "Yo, I am a terrible leader."
He said, "Yo, pretty much it's transactional." Like,
yeah, it's transactional. He's like, I don't talk to my team. I got people for that. I hire, he may not even know who some of his team members are. And that's a real thing. Sitting in that conversation, though, reminded me of the type of leader I want to be internally to my team. I want a relationship with my team. I want you to know me on a first name basis. I want you to feel comfortable calling me if there's something that you feel like you need to call me for. Those things are key. And we do invest, and I think it's human. We do invest time, energy, and resources in people that we want to stay around forever. And if it should happen to have to come to an end, I think because we are such a small organization, I don't want to say I'll take it personally, but I will feel a kind of way, whether it's just disappointment or sadness or what do I do now?
For sure.
Because the difference between what we're doing and what bigger companies are doing in corporate America is they are prepared. They've got human resources departments to handle that. They've got, resumes and recruiters and headhunters and all kinds of stuff, or they have people inside their organization that they can immediately reposition. They've got trainers. Most of us, where we are in our business right now, if an employee who plays a pivotal role in our company leaves, we don't have those same things in place to say, okay, now let's go out and spend some time finding a replacement, interviewing the replacement, training the replacement. It usually falls on us. So it's a little bit more stressful. So we've got to do better due diligence up front and ask questions like this. I hired someone in my company fully aware that they're an entrepreneur and that's the goal. Period. That might not work for somebody else. That, you hire people and you understand that this may be short term. You hire people in hopes that this relationship will be long term. I think it's important for you as a CEO, from your VAs to your operations managers, your human resources departments and beyond, to actually identify what you need in that role, because some roles do need to be long term. And I promise, I always said that I wanted to build a business that was operated by my family. And I still mean that. I still mean that, right? I am training my daughter right now, to work a significant role in my company once she graduates college. My little cousin, who's more like a niece, who's a little older than my daughter, I'm going to start training her soon to have a role in my company.
Here's the thing, Donni. You can't be attached to that, because if she
it's not.
Like you said, like you'd be disappointed. You'd be disappointed if your daughter comes home like, "Mommy, I don't want to work for you."
Well, this is based on,
you feel away. I mean, it's okay. You understand.
This is based on the interest that they've expressed in doing this, right?
Yeah.
The interest that they've expressed in doing this, the vision that I have for the company. Now, obviously, if it doesn't work that way, it doesn't work that way.
But you'd be disappointed.
Not really.
Yes.
No. I won't.
If you've been grooming, how are you going to be disappointed if an employee that was supposed to be here for a long time left, but your daughter that you'd really see a vision, like us being bosses together, she like, how are you not going to be disappointed in that?
Yeah, no, it's a little different. So with a team member that I have brought on into a role that's like, I'm hiring a team member that's already experienced in that role. And it's like, oh, you've taken this weight off of my shoulders and you're operating in that role. So if you suddenly quit on me, there's going to be some disappointment. Now, with my daughter, I am very intentional about letting her live her life. because I didn't necessarily get that same grace. At this time, she is expressing interest in working with me, right? At this time. If that should change, I don't mind. I honestly would love for her to go somewhere else and get more experience. And I told her that this summer, like, you can go and do an internship or work for a different company so you can get some other experience to be sure that this is what you want to do. My niece expressed interest, like, this is how I want to serve your company.
How old is she?
My niece, 25. So the roles that they're starting in, I mean, I started on a very successful track at 23 years old. So I believe, my daughter's a little younger, but I believe that this is something that if you really want to do this, I can train you to do. My dream has always been to have a family-run company, right? That doesn't mean that it'll work out that way. It's just starting to work. My daughter is the only family that works for me. My niece will be coming on soon. My best friend, who is like family, also works for my company. So it would be like a dream come true if I could build that kind of like Hilton and, things, understanding that other people outside of the family organization will have to work for the company. But it would absolutely be a dream if I am able to build something so powerful that it actually allows the people in my family to have 6-7 figure incomes based off of something that I started.
Yeah,
that would be crazy.
You'd be disappointed if it doesn't happen, though.
I don't know that I would be disappointed that it doesn't.
That's your dream. Like, how do you have a dream and it don't work out and you're not disappointed?
Well,
Donni,
and it is a dream. When
I'm
I thought about developing a business, I just always saw these companies that operated, with their family. I've always thought
that's
that was
what I'm saying.
cool,
How is that
admirable.
something you see? But just say you'd be disappointed. You'd be somewhat disappointed.
Okay, so I have a dream of buying a Lamborghini truck. If I don't get it, I'm not disappointed. I'm just going to get another car.
You were disappointed. You walked out of the Mercedes store without the G-Wagon. What are you talking about right now?
I wasn't disappointed.
Yeah, you were disappointed in that price.
You think?
He was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm about to get it, David. I'm gonna get it on Facebook, FaceTime." And they say that the truck is $300,000, and she's like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, because
I saw the disappointment on your face.
It was marked up $120,000 more.
It's okay to be disappointed in certain things.
It was marked up $120,000 more than sticker price because of the shortage on the vehicles.
You weren't disappointed?
I was pissed. Right. Like, 120, is that legal? I don't know. Would I be disappointed? It's possible, but it won't be disappointed to the point where it like paralyzes the progress.
Nothing. Just somebody quitting. You said you'd be disappointed. It's not going to paralyze the progress, though.
Yeah, I didn't say I would be disappointed just from somebody quitting. That's not what. Find your camera.
She didn't say that?
Your camera's here. That's not what I said.
Okay, all right.
I said in certain roles, certain people, like certain roles, certain people, certain positions that you've invested in.
You say you're sounding more and more crazy by the minute. Let's just keep going.
Certain situations would absolutely breed disappointment. You're right. And we're just going to leave it at that. I mean, disappointment happens in every area of your life, 100%. Right? It is totally okay to be disappointed, but it's not okay to be halted or stopped, thrown off course because you're disappointed.
And I'm disappointed in the fact that the one time we try to plan out what we're going to talk about on the podcast
talk about it
at all. I kept trying to push it, like, we're going to figure out this whole OnlyFans thing, and we just didn't. But it was a good episode. So
we often start, like, we'll sit here in these chairs and say, okay, this is what we're talking about today. We'll be in front of a studio audience and we'll be like, what do you guys want to talk about? And they'll give us all these suggestions. I don't know what happens. Me and David sit in these chairs and it's just a whole different conversation. We'll let you guys know when we're on OnlyFans. Just know that we're on OnlyFans. Mm-hmm. We decided to move forward with it. We feel really good about the decision. We're excited. We are open to suggestions from you guys as to what you want to see on OnlyFans. And be clear that we are a non-provocative brand, okay? That we're still going to be delivering in the same capacity as we do on the Social Proof Podcast.
100%.
We don't want those comments that you got to get blocked for. Okay?
Yeah, throw it in the chat, man, what you want to see on OnlyFans other than Donni Wiggins. You know what I mean? Because I know that'd be some answers in the chat. We want to see Donni.
They want to see David's thigh meat with these hoochie daddy shorts on that he's wearing. Little profile view.
I got a little thigh for you.
This episode is sponsored by David's thighs.
Hey man, listen, it depends.
What we gotta do?
If they offer me $10 million.
Yo, first of all,
sell my whole soul.
Yo, if they put us in position to pull a bad baby move, I'm gonna just have to send some apologies out in advance. Daughter, mother, dad. It set our family free for generations.
For generations, I'm sure you understand.
It's my exposure, not yours.
Look, man.
Are you willing to take an L for your family?
Yo, put it in the chat if you like our new studio. Listen, this episode is sponsored by the Morning Meetup, the only organization that gathers every single day for the betterment of entrepreneurs. I realized that we are literally the only company that does what we do, and we are planning something big. Members only. We're planning something huge. Members only. I mean, you go to these like conferences and amazing events, but like we got to really start honing and cultivating the community, like exclusive things like you cannot get in unless you are in the community. So really, really excited about that. Listen, go to themorningmeetup.com, join our family, download the app. We are really, really pushing valuable information. Lives have been changed. If you've been looking to become an entrepreneur, or you can't find the inspiration to like break that whatever wall you've been on, if you've been only making 60,000, like I cannot get to 7 figures or 6 figures, come to the Morning Meetup. I promise you, we will help you. We read books we read a chapter of a book every single day. And I can say that me personally, I am growing incredibly, like exponentially, simply because of this book club. So go to themorningmeetup.com.
Yeah. I love it. I love the book club aspect. Like, seriously. You ever have a conversation with somebody and you're looking for advice? I was just telling somebody this morning. You're looking for advice and they give you such poor advice. The only thing you can think of is like, you need to read more books. Your mindset is trash.
Yeah, your personal development is off.
Your personal development is very subpar, very wet garbage like.
3 minutes. I'm just saying. No, you made a good point, but what? The reason that they're laughing, making it worse, but it wasn't I tried to say it on the low too.
You tried to turn your mic up a little bit. This episode is also brought to you by Six Figure EDU. You guys, you are out there. You've got some information you want to teach, train, and develop. You believe everybody should know the things that you know. You believe that everybody should be able to monetize what you've been able to monetize or the information that you've been able to acquire. I train and develop from scratch coaches, consultants, and course creators. I have a few different options for you, regardless of where you are in your entrepreneurial journey. You might be a beginner. You might be intermediate level. You may be advanced. Maybe you're already making multiple 6 figures and you're like, hey, how can I work with Coach Donni? Go to sixfigureedu.com/links. sixfigureedu.com/links. I have resources available for you. Also, just connect with me. You can text me directly. I send out business tips and information
at 404-737-4935.
He's such a hater because he forgot to give you guys his text, his phone number. But you can text me and get valuable content from me, not just information on when you're going to be going live, David. Anyway, the number is 404-737-2767. Just say, hey, girl, and get on my text list and look for the gems that I send out freely. And then lastly, you guys, did you know that we offered another platform for entrepreneurs who feel like they need to be coached? Maybe you can't choose between me and David. Guess what? You can't. You don't have to because you can anyway, but you can get us both. You can tag team our information for me and David through the Brain Picker Podcast.
BrainPickerPodcast.com. Sign up. We can't wait to coach you. I need to see what's going on in your business.
You get an hour with us to talk exclusively in front of a live audience. Online is virtual, so you can be located anywhere in the world to talk about your business, regardless of what it is. Okay? So go to brainpickerpodcast.com. Schedule your Schedule your coaching session with us. Brainpickerpodcast.com. It's been real, you guys.
Also, you can hire Ramsey too.
Hey, Ramsey.
He was, yeah, I felt like he was sitting there too, like, yo, what am I, chopped liver? But the only reason I know that because I thought you think photography, but he was editing some people's content yesterday.
A photographer.
Maybe it's the red light making him look all. We get into the video.
He's a
Red light. All right, we out here, y'all. Peace.